Hi, everyone. Good morning. This is the Real Estate Network. I'm Lindsay, and I have Brian Teyssier with us today.
Hey, hello. How's everybody going?
It's going great.
All
So
right.
let's get going. So Brian is a real estate professional with RE/MAX. He has a heavy presence in the luxury market and also experience in new construction developments.
Yeah, so I do a lot of work mostly in the downtown Pittsburgh area. Brand new construction is kind of my favorite thing. I've been in real estate since 2006, and when I started out, I've done everything. I started out showing $20,000 foreclosures to people that just called me off the internet, and I didn't know if they were qualified or not. So I feel like throughout the years, I've kind of cut my teeth to earn the position that I've desired. And that is, I love new construction. I love the smell of wood, drywall. I love all the problems that come with it, flipping as well. So that's kind of my jam.
With the developments you got going on right now, in order to sell out the development, what are some tips and advice you can give if agents are looking to partner with a developer or a builder on the most productive way to go about things?
So I'm going to tell you now, when you say agents, I don't know if you mean newer agents, but as an agent, it's very, 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 very tough to get in with a builder or developer because as you know, being an agent, being a buyer's agent is different than being a listing agent, right? There's just two different skill sets there. And I know we do both, but there are some that specifically work on buying, some specifically work on listing. When you're a listing agent, there's different kind of hierarchies or divisions there, I would say as well. And that is you work with resales, maybe resales in a different price point. Maybe you work with some flippers. Maybe you work with buy and holds. Maybe you work with development, which is where I'm kind of at now. And I've been working the last 4 years to try to get there. It's a totally different skill set. And Pittsburgh's very small. Developers all know kind of each other. They kind of chatter with each other, and they can obviously see what agents are doing bulk of the listing of the development. So to try to get on with a developer is super duper tough. I mean, you got to get your foot in the door. I worked my way up the ladder, basically. I started with flippers, right? And then the flipper, I kind of rode with them. A couple of flippers decided to be developers. So I kind of came along with them. And you're going to spend, when it comes to being a realtor, as a buyer's agent, you don't spend a lot of money. Just gasoline in your car. Unless you have an electric car, they're not spending a lot of money at all. If you're a listing agent, you're doing some professional photos, maybe some professional videos, maybe you're doing some boosting of some posts on social media. But when you work, the most money spent from a realtor is going to be a listing agent of a developer, because the development is going to take 12, 18, 24 months. You have to spend money on brochures, special signage, social media posts. You're going to have videos, constant videos. So one of the ways I got into get developers to look at me was I would just go out there with my own drone by myself, and just without them even knowing, I would take drone photos and videos of the project from when it was flat ground till it was had a foundation, till it was stick, till it was closed. And I would go out there on my own, with my own volition, with no listings, and take these photos and videos and post it. And I would tag those developers in it. And this is maybe, like I said, 4 or 5 years ago. A lot of people, it's come a long way now. But that's kind of how I got in. And I got them, I wanted to shine a flashlight on myself, right? Shined a flashlight on myself. They saw what I was doing, and then it gave me a chance. Then, like I said, you've got to have some cha-ching in the bank to do that, because now you're hiring it. So now I pay a photographer to go out in different stages. And now at first it was like, the developer's like, oh, that's so cool you do that, right? And then the next project, they're like, when are you sending your photographer out? Like, it's a level of expectation now. So I kind of got myself into trouble, but it also is what keeps me getting developments and different listings as well. Did I answer your question? I might go down.
Yes. No, you're doing great. That's right. Perfect. On point. Yeah. Brochures, and then just follow up with photographers showing the progress of the development.
See, one of the things I love about social media, and I try to make sure all my developers are following me on social media, is so it takes away the question, what are you doing for my project? Before social media, they didn't really know what you're doing. Maybe you do a showing here, a showing there. When I do showings, I record the buyers looking at the rooftop deck or whatever, and I put it in my Instagram stories, and I tag my developer so he can see I'm working.
Right.
Because if developments aren't going to sell out right away, unless you're in one of these unicorn markets again, where we're not in that. But when it takes time to sell, it takes time to sell. Trying to get somebody to part with $5, $6, $7, $800, $900,000 out of their bank account when it's just framing,
It's tough.
Bro, it's tough. It's super
Very
tough.
tough.
Sometimes you take them to 2, 3, 4 times. Like even today, I have to go down to my ARA listing that's already under contract. And I think they're at the stage where they're putting the appliances in, and the buyer and the buyer's agent haven't been down there. I said, well, I'll go down and take some photos and videos and send it to you so you can see the progress. We're supposed to be closing within the month. So it's more work and more money to the listing agent than you're going to do at all, even if you're showing a bunch of buyers' houses.
Right.
And if you have multiple developments, you're working that much harder. And everybody does it differently. So there's other listing agents out there with new construction. I don't know how they perform, how they work, or what their marketing is, but that's the way I market. Like I'm very, very hands-on. Sometimes I'll go through and take a whole bunch of video on my camera roll, because sometimes I may go out of town for a week, as we're going to probably talk about. I go to Miami for a week. So I'm dripping all that stuff out in Pittsburgh while I'm not even in Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
Did I answer your question
Yes,
again?
you did.
All right,
You
sorry.
did perfect. No, you're doing great.
Cool.
So with the new construction developments, would you say the ones you're involved with, are they more like townhouses, luxury, or
It's
how would you describe it?
a little combination of everything. Yeah. So my first project, I would say, was Lawrenceville Lofts, which is a brand new ground up condo building in Lower Lawrenceville. And then that developer moved on to we're going to call them luxury. Well, in the Lawrenceville Lofts, the penthouses will be luxury. The way that typically works is the lower units are going to be the least expensive because the views aren't as great. So they were in the $300,000 to $400,000 range. But when you got the penthouses, it's $800,000 to $1 million. So the building itself isn't all luxury; just the kind of the top floors were luxury. So it was condo luxury as well. And then the developer sold out of that, and he started these luxury townhouses, which is also in Lawrenceville. It's called AURA, A-U-R-A. And they're $945,000 minimum prices on phase one, and the end units are like 1.2 million. Brand new ground up townhouses with an HOA. So yeah, and then I have a $1.1 million house on Negley that's a flip. It's a gutted flip, and they're taking their time, right? The market's not that great. We know that, and we expect the market to turn around the next 12 months. So they're doing the smart thing, I guess they can, and they're just kind of taking their time. So they're going to deliver it whenever the interest rates start going down and the market goes.
Yep, because it's
crazy.
coming.
It's great.
Yep.
Dude, it's coming. It's coming big time. I don't know if we're going to talk about that or not, but it's going to be, if interest rates go down, it's going to be mayhem.
Yep, and that's what I keep telling clients right now, is that if you're looking to buy, you're contemplating, now's the time.
So I'm glad you said that, Lindsay. I was just at a bar. At a restaurant, sitting at the bar. I'm not a bar frequenter. I don't want anybody to think that. But I was having salad, and there was a gentleman, three gentlemen going to the Steeler game, last Steeler game, and they were talking. It's the worst time to buy. And I'm thinking, I'm like biting my tongue. I'm like, do I butt in and say, I don't mean to butt in, but I'm going to butt in, or do I just keep my mouth shut? I butted in. Right. And I said, listen, it's the best time to buy. If you're a buyer, it's the best time to buy. Why is that? We already know there's a limited inventory, right?
Correct.
Under a certain price point in our market, $400,000, there's not going to be any new stuff because you can't build a house for $400,000. It costs $400,000 or $500,000 to build a house, and you have to make profit on top of that. So inventory is what it is, right? So you have limited inventory. Let's just say you have 10 houses, right? And there's 10 buyers out there. Okay, that's perfect. You should be making a move now, because what happens when those interest rates go down, I don't know how fast they're going to go down, but I know for a fact I have buyers sitting on the fence. Let's just call 100 buyers sitting on the fence, right? You got 10 houses, you got 10 active buyers. What do you think is going to happen when those interest rates go down? Those 100 buyers are going to come off the fence, and there's no more inventory.
Yeah.
There's more buyers, but no more inventory. It's going to be mayhem. You're going to be buying houses over ask again, no inspections. You're going to be missing out on houses. You're going to settle on a house you didn't even want. Whereas you could buy a house now for 7.8%, get a variable rate. It's going to go down, adjustable rate. Go down. Get it fixed, and refi out of it. I mean, it's insane. It's the best time to buy right now.
100%. Yeah, I keep saying that what's going to happen is going to be the grand finale from the COVID.
Dude, I totally agree, because interest rates are going to stabilize.
Finale.
I mean, when I got into the market in 2006, they were at 6 or 7%. That's kind of the standard. I mean, that's kind of an industry standard. It's kind of where there should be. It's very affordable. We're at 7 point something now, and everybody thinks that's catastrophic because we had 2% interest rates, but that's not far off from where it should be. So it's going to come back down, I bet you, 6s, and it's going to kind of stay there until we have something else that impacts the market.
Yes, I agree. All right. So speaking of the market, let's start talking about Miami and how that market is, and share your insight on how you started your career with also presence in Miami.
Yeah, so I mean, Miami is still an ongoing project. I've been licensed there 3 years. I started to get my license during COVID, so that kind of screwed things up a little bit. Technically, I've absolutely sold zero. I've sold nothing down there. I have 2 luxury leases that I have done, one for 10,500 a month and one for 12,000 a month, which we only have so much time, but the market in Miami and is so different than the market in Pittsburgh. Like, I don't work with leases in Pittsburgh at all. I mean, there's no such thing as a $10,000 a month lease in residential in Pittsburgh, right?
Correct.
So when I first went down there, like, I'm not going to work with leases. I signed up with Miles Goldstein, which is in Aventura, Florida, which is North Miami. Extremely luxury and ultra luxury brokerage. Like, they don't touch anything under $1 million. They don't even want to see it. And honestly, in Miami, $1 million in the Miami part, not so much inland, is kind of considered poor. I mean, 2, 3, 4, 5 million is kind of where it's at. So they don't do anything under that. So I thought with my experience and video savvy and social media and all this, I'd be able to go down there and just kind of jump the ladder, right? I didn't want to start at the bottom. I'm a little on the older side. I wanted to just start up top. And so far, it hasn't worked out at all. It's tough toggling back and forth. So I get a condo through the winter months and I go down there, I make a bunch of connections and networking. So in Pittsburgh, we have like 9,500 licensed agents in our MLS. The MLS down there has 185,000 licensed agents with, again, the same problem, which is 60% don't sell anything. And unfortunately, I'm in that 60 percentile, which is kind of frustrating because I sell a lot up here and I'm having a hard time getting going down there. So I'm constantly...
It's tougher.
It's super tough. And I'll tell you what, in Pittsburgh, your skill level matters. Your tools matter. In Miami, your looks matter. And there's even been proof that favors matter, bodily favors matter when it comes to getting listings and stuff like that.
Oh.
I'll tell you a little story. You can cut it out if you want. So I have a very, very good friend who's an agent down there, right? And in the office, which will remain nameless, he talked to a seller of I don't know the number, $7 million, $5 million condo, right? An older single gentleman. He gave the listing to a younger, prettier female with the anticipation or expectation that she would perform above and beyond her role with sexual experiences. And you hear about this. You kind of hear about it and you think, oh, that doesn't happen. So that does happen. So that's how she got the listing. Well, she couldn't sell a listing because she's not really a professional agent. She's just using her attributes to get listings. So what happened was the gentleman ended up firing her because she wasn't performing to the promises she made.
Right.
And he gave it to my friend who's a male, and he told him about the whole thing. So and my guy friend told me that. I was like, man, I kind of assumed this kind of shit happens down here, but I never knew it.
To that extreme.
So
yeah. Oh, wow.
Yep, happens down there. In Pittsburgh, I mean, maybe it has happened a little bit here and there. I have no knowledge of that, but I have knowledge of it down there. I know for a fact it happens down there. Yeah. So basically, it's much tougher to get business down there because what our values are up here, which
different,
blue collar Pittsburgh, work hard, is not the values down there, man. And everybody knows an agent. Everybody knows an agent. Like, I even met friends down there through the car world, so to speak, and I saw them list for something. I was like, what are you doing? He's like, well, but I've known this girl or this guy for I have 3 different agents I know for 10, 15 years. I'm like, but doesn't talent matter? I mean, look at all I do. No, doesn't matter.
Wow. So it's more, okay.
It's more show and go, man. We'll call it show and go.
Yeah.
Right. It is really what you look like, which is why if you ever tune in to I have a Miami Instagram channel and Pittsburgh Instagram channel and Miami, and I follow them, and these girls, they even hire photographers and videographers to come out to these multi-million-dollar listings and take photos of them, and they dress super designer clothing and super provocative. So it's a whole different animal down there. Yeah.
I didn't even think about things like that.
I'm telling you, Pittsburgh is in a bubble. I mean, we've said this multiple times before. I mean, it is a safe bubble, man. I love Miami. I like to get away because the cold weather, but I love when I'm on that flight back to Pittsburgh, that airplane back to Pittsburgh. It's just like a safe, respectable, normal person type of town, man. It's just so different down there. Yeah. And so the business is also a little tough. And you might think, well, why don't you have Pittsburghers that come down? Pittsburghers tend to wait till they get older to go to Florida, and they tend to gravitate towards the other coast, which is like Sarasota and Naples. A lot of Pittsburghers go to Naples. So I don't know if you know Kate Balzer, Balzer.
It sounds familiar.
I think she's with Sotheby's. So she was a pretty successful agent here in Pittsburgh, and then she got older and went down, got her license in Florida and Naples, and works down there. So she moved down to Naples and does a healthy amount of business of a stream of Pittsburghers coming to Naples. So it seems like a lot of people don't want to come to Miami. Come to Miami.
You'll make it. You'll get through.
We'll get there. Listen, I'm not. It's funny because as a top agent, you might think everything is all gravy and everything's fantastic every day. I have been ready to give up every year. Like every year, I come back for the summer. Basically, like I gave up my condo down there and I come back for the summer. And every year, I'm ready to give up. I'm like, what am I doing, man? This is just absolutely insane. Trying to compete with these people and breaking in this market, and everything's so fake and so cliquey as well. I mean, it is exactly what. Miami is probably like LA. It's exactly what you think and what you see on TV, which is just fake relationships and social climbers and people that aren't billionaires that rent watches and rent cars to make it look like they are. It's insanity. I think I'm getting off topic yet again.
No, you're doing good. You're doing good.
Yeah.
No, it's interesting to hear this and, hearing that insight because I think even as, a realtor in Pittsburgh, you don't think about those things unless you would be down there, right? Because our mindset, like you said, and the way we do business here is different.
Big time. So. And I think Miami's different. There's different sections of Miami. So like if you move more inland away from the water, it's less touristy. It's less rich. I don't say it's less rich. There's big houses there too. But maybe it's more family. So it's a little more real than it is if you're on the water side, I'm going to call it, which is the Bay and South Beach and all that. It's a lot of people that want to be seen. Whereas if you move a little more inland, it's a little bit more real people that don't care about being seen. Like they may have a Rolls Royce or three, but they're still normal people. You know what I mean?
Right.
A little more normal than on the coast side.
Understood.
Yep.
So with you having your license down there, I saw the one listing you shared. So has there been properties that you've toured personally that you're just in awe of when you're in Miami?
Right. So I was sitting down there in Miami and we don't do, so the brokerage I'm with is luxury and ultra luxury, right? They just sold the largest sale ever in Broward County. They represented the buyer, which was $40 million, 40,000,000. That's a lot of zeros. And so when I posted, it's my office. My office wants us to post our other colleagues' listings and fully disclose that we are not the listing agent. We are not the buyer's agent. Congratulations to John Doe, who just represented this buyer, this $40 million listing out of the same brokerage as us. So a lot of people don't read the print or the text, and they just automatically think that's my listing and sale. I'm not going to be opposed to that as long as I did my job of disclosing that it's not mine. And you think I'm selling $40 million, I'm okay with that. But but they do stuff like that all the time.
Mm-hmm. Let's discuss how you gained your presence in the luxury market and also tips you can give to agents, whether they're new or seasoned, on how to establish good, strong relationships with it.
Yeah, I think
that market.
I think a big thing is, and what I'm actually going to start taking my own medicine in Miami is I tell all agents, no matter where you want to go, if you want to get in luxury, if you want to just start making any sales, if you want to get in leases, you really should get on a team. Mm-hmm. You really need to get on a team. And like I said, I think that's the advice I'm going to take. I'm going to try getting on a team down in Miami because you can just jump the line, so to speak. So if you want to get on with in the luxury market, I actually took a whole bunch of luxury classes, right? Mm-hmm. And actually, I've taken classes on everything. I should probably back up. I've taken classes on flipping. I've taken classes on new construction. I've earned different designations with some I may have let go because you have to pay over the years, and sometimes the value is no longer there after you take the class. But I had two luxury designations. Like I paid for myself to fly to Naples to take a luxury course, a CHLMS or something like that. Mm-hmm. You'll learn a lot about it. I mean, I highly recommend, it doesn't matter if it's a luxury, I don't know what your goal is. Mm-hmm. You should go to conventions, hire a coach. I hired a coach, get different designations. Because what happens is I would fly to those towns to take those luxury classes to earn that designation. And guess what? Guess who you're sitting with?
Top producers.
Other luxury agents from different markets, right? Mm-hmm. And then we have this beautiful thing called social media. So I don't even get business cards. I get their social media. I connect with them right away. Something I do, I do have business cards, but rarely do I use them. And people laugh at me. They're like, you didn't ask for that person's number. No, I ask for the social media. And what I do is I take a selfie with them, right? So to say you and I, like for instance, I was in Lauderdale for the Fort Lauderdale International Boat Show. Mm-hmm. And there was this guy that came with my friends, and I've never seen a larger amount of diamonds, and I can show you after, everywhere. Earrings, multiple chains, fingers. And I don't know anything about jewelry, but I don't even think you can get that amount of fake diamonds. So I just took it that this guy was mega rich. So I know he's a YouTuber, he's an influencer. He was saying that YouTube pays him between $70,000 and $80,000 a month.
What?
Because he has 3 million followers on Insta. I didn't look at his YouTube. So anyway, back to my point. What I did was, and I know my time with him is limited and I can't just drill him. So I said, let's take a selfie together. So I took a selfie with him, asked him for his Instagram, and I waited till a couple of days later, and I DM'd him and I said, hey, it was just a nice meeting, and I DM'd the photo. So what I'm saying is, if you go to these luxury conventions, or maybe it's flipping conventions, maybe you want to represent investors that do buy and holds, there's conventions for everything. Go there, you're gonna meet people, right? You take photos with them, get connected on their social media. And what happens is, I ended up getting referrals from all these people that the amount of money I made from those referrals, guess what? They paid for the airfare, paid for the hotel, and it paid for the conventions.
Wow.
And now I got a steady stream of people watching my social media. And we probably could do a different podcast, but social media is like the biggest tool you have. If you want to get into luxury, you got to go to luxury open houses. There's a luxury open house in Upper St. Clair. Barb is doing one. She just emailed me. So you get on the email. That's perfect. This is perfect, actually. This works out. Get on the email list, right? You got to go to these brokers' opens in whatever state you're in. So down in Miami, and you had asked me this before we took a break, is I do go in those luxury homes. So I'm sitting in my condo thinking, how am I going to get business? We don't do open houses at our brokerage down there because they're just too big. 20, 30, $40 million. The sellers aren't comfortable.
And also privacy.
Privacy concerns and stuff. However, some people do them, right? So I'm sitting there and I'm like, I'm gonna look at the MLS, the Miami MLS. I open it up, I'm like, I'm gonna do search, I'm gonna do open houses, I'm gonna plug in 10 million or more, just see what happens. Well, lo and behold, there's a whole bunch of brokers opens and public open houses for these $10 million houses, $20 million houses, $30 million houses. So if you follow me on Instagram, Brian Sells Miami, or any social media, you will see that I will go through and I will take photos or take videos with my phone landscape of these 10, 20, 30, $40 million houses. I'll take a whole bunch of landscape and I'll send it to my videographer to put it together. And I'll put out videos of me touring these homes down there, and I'll take them upright as well for Instagram, and I put it in my story. So I had one guy say to me, man, none of your audience is going to buy these $20, $30 million homes. Why don't you do $1 million homes? And I was like, that's stupid. So then I'm like, maybe I should look in the MLS. So I looked in the MLS for $1 million homes in Miami, which would be equal to $150,000 homes in Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
And they're crap, right? I'm thinking to myself, who's going to look on my social media if I'm just posting basic stuff? People live in basic stuff. So basically what I'm trying to say is you want to just get out there. And that advice was given to me as well. If you're an agent in a sea of agents, you need to stand out. So what I would do, it doesn't matter what market you're in. So I'm in Pittsburgh, I'm in Miami. I have the luxury, and when I go down there Monday, I will be going to luxury brokers opens and public open houses again. And I introduce myself to the listing agent. I give them a business card, chat them up politely just a little bit, because I know I'm not a buyer if it's a public open house, but I just want them to know who I am. I want to make a mark, right?
Correct.
And same with Pittsburgh. We have brokers opens. We have some luxury brokers opens as well. Open that MLS, go to that search tab, open houses, select the day, and it'll show you what's out there. Go in, shake hands, man. 15 years ago when I started, I would go to open houses because they were broker caravans were popular back then. We don't really have those so much anymore. Like the whole office would pile into a couple of vehicles and go look at all the new listings. We don't have that so much anymore. But you still have those brokers opens where in public open, even a public open house, if you're a new agent, I'm kind of gearing this comment towards newer agents. Go to the open house, shake that person's hand, and just say, hey, even stand and just watch them for a couple of minutes. But you got to get out there. Again, get some designations. Don't do them in Pittsburgh or whatever your home city is. You want to fly out. You want to meet other people so you can get references, referrals, become their friend, become their partner.
And then for newer agents, do you feel that the designations are super important to have if you're getting into the luxury market?
Right. So I don't think the designation itself is important because, listen, I know if they ever watch this, they're going to hate me, but the designation itself means absolutely nothing. Buyers and sellers, you have to explain to them what the designation is. Like I have a pre-listing package and I have it in there and I have what it actually is. It's not about that. It's about, you might get one deal where it comes down to, are you a luxury agent? Yeah, I have the CHLMS, whatever it is. But it's always about me meeting the people at the convention and getting the referrals, because they're the ones that are going to give you the money. You're not going to get a paycheck from just saying I have XYZ. It's about meeting those people there. And I still get referrals from people I met 10 years ago, getting my CRS designation. I never took one class in my hometown because I wanted to go out and meet people. And it costs a little bit of money. And that's kind of what we were talking about before. To be a realtor, it's not just, you can't just open up social media and see people driving nice cars, having nice clothes and thinking, oh, I just want to get my license, and that's what happens. You've got to invest in yourself.
Yes, you got to invest. It's your business.
Speak on that a little bit, if you don't mind, about being an entrepreneur. We don't work for anybody. We work for ourselves.
Yes. And we have a lot of, a lot of bosses. All our clients are our bosses.
I tell all my sellers, I said, it's a super weird dichotomy. Like, I have all the knowledge. However, you are my boss. Like, you pull the trigger. It's such a weird, typically in any other job, let's just say you're an accountant in a major corporation. You have a boss, and they usually know more than you, right? But this here, we have all the skills, we have all the talents, we have all the tools, we have all the market knowledge, and the seller has to just take that information and kind of say, okay, yeah, and I figure that's always the pull. That's the push and pull. Some sellers will take everything we say and just run with it. It's like, God, you're an amazing seller, right? And then you have some sellers that or CEOs of companies or whatever. I find these are the tough ones, doctors and lawyers that always feel they know more than us because they're experts in their field.
Oh, yeah.
Different podcasts.
And engineers, things like that.
Engineers, absolutely.
So what do you feel, you shared what works in tips, but I'm sure when you were going, through trials and errors, trying to figure out, the best way to go about things, what doesn't work to avoid, things for agents to, not waste your time on doing, this if you're looking to go into the luxury market.
So all the tools I gave you, which was going to conventions, going to seminars, hiring a coach, going to open houses, going to brokers opens, doing social media like I do. Again, we didn't talk about it, and that can be a whole different podcast. Social media is my big thing. And if you look at my social media, Brian.sellspittsburgh, you're not going to see a ton of followers, which I would love to, if we ever did a podcast about social media. So the first thing we're going to talk about is that's not important how many followers you have. It's the quality of the followers. So in everything, every point, every tip I gave, I've had success and failure. So I wouldn't say there's one thing. I've done mailings. I've had success and failed as well as there. So there's a certain percentage that's going to be failing or not hitting that full level of success in every point I gave you. It's up to you. I kind of feel like that's a little unfair of a question. What didn't work? Because it's up to the person. It's up to your personality. If you go, for example, if you go to a convention, like I gave you advice, right? But you're a super introvert, which I'm an introvert as well. You may not be able to tell now because we're talking about something I'm into. But if you put me in a room full of people, I'll be that guy against the wall that's kind of like, oh my God, I hope they don't talk to me.
That's how I am, yeah.
Okay, perfect.
Yep, I'm
perfect
introvert.
example. So you know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So if I'm going to build on what you asked me and answer your question. So if you you fly to Alabama for a luxury conference and you don't talk to anybody, you just listen to what they have to say, take notes, and you sit there, and they'll have lunches where you're kind of supposed to mingle. They'll have some people organize dinners after, which is separate from the actual designation, to get to know people, to network. They always say take a ton of business cards. If you don't intermingle with any of those people, that's going to be a fail for you. So it's not so much what tool is successful or a failure for me. It's how did I use it? How did I go after it, man?
Right.
I mean, listen, you've got to be a tiger, man. You've got to be a lion. Like, if you ever seen in the Serengeti where there's like zebras running around, there's like lions and hyenas and jackals tearing after them. You can't be that zebra, man. You've got to be one of those animals to go after. There's a ton of memes, ton of photos, videos, and artwork, and I know all about it, but it is so freaking true.
It is. Yep, 100%.
Yeah, so it's not. I wouldn't say there's any tool that's failed for me. They've all had levels of success. They've all had levels of failure.
It's just how you applied it and what you.
It's your plan. Like when I go to these brokers opens in Miami, like this week I'll be going, I have a plan. I plan my car where I park it. Very detailed. I plan how I go in. I don't go in with a group of people. I go in with business cards. I give business cards to every single person. I have a business card. Maybe I'll share it with you. I don't know if I have one with me. It's a credit card, right? And the ones I have up here are Remax. It's a physical credit card. And the numbers on the card that would be your credit card number is my phone number.
Oh, that's neat.
It's super cool. So my card is not a basic card that's not going to stand out. It stands out to everybody I give them because you always want to stick in people's mind. It's called stickiness when it comes to marketing. You want to be sticky. I don't know who those people are. They could all be agents, may do nothing for me, But one agent may one day say, hey, I saw you at that $30 million open house. Do you have anything off market? And then I would go to my brokerage, and we have like a little WhatsApp group and say, hey, anybody have a $40 million listing? And this is what I was telling you earlier. Sometimes there's 3 or 4 agents on one deal. That's how it happens. You may have a buyer's agent that reaches out to me. I don't have anything, but I reach out to my office. They have something, and then I'm on the deal with them automatically. And it's off market or it's a listing or whatever. So did I answer your question? I feel like I just
No, you did a great job.
Okay, good. Yeah, so the answer was no tool is a failure. It's all in how you apply it and how you use it. Have a plan, man.
To date, what is your favorite property that you sold?
Favorite property or favorite client that owned that property?
I guess you could do both, because I guess it'd be more so.
Right. So my favorite property would be probably one of my largest sales, which is 2.5 million in Pittsburgh. It was, I'm going to tell you how I got the deal. Once again, we can talk about it forever. I got it from Instagram, right? I was tagging this house that I had listed in Fox Chapel, and I would just tag Fox Chapel real estate, hashtag Fox Chapel real estate, hashtag move to Fox Chapel. And would you believe it that there was this seller that somehow searched that hashtag, saw that I had a listing in Fox Chapel, which wasn't huge, but it was a listing in Fox Chapel, reached out, DM me on Instagram and said to me, hey, listen, we started building a large infinity custom home, right? It's not even done yet. It's about 90% done. We don't want it. We want to sell it. And I'm a licensed agent, she says to me, but I don't have the skill, the talent to sell it. Would you be interested in listing it? I mean, I fell over. Would I be interested in listing at that time? I didn't know the price, but I knew it was over $2 million. If you're Infinity, you're in Fox Chapel, and you're custom luxury. So I was like, absolutely. So some good tips coming out here. She was an agent, so she wanted 50% referral, and I said, I got a problem with that. I mean, I want this. Like, I showed up at the house and I saw it was magnificent, right? And I said, I have a problem with that. I understand you're an agent. I understand you give me an opportunity, but 50% is just too much. I've got to spend way too much money, and you don't have to spend any. I really don't want you to be part of the deal. I don't want you showing the house. You're the owner. So I negotiated her down, I think 30%, which is a high referral fee, but it's industry standard as well. Correct. And I took the listing, and I had video crews. I had my McLaren in front of this place, and it was like personal branding as well. So we had it listed for 2.75, and within a month or two, I didn't even get to fully market it. It was under contract for 2.5, sold for 2.5 maybe like 3 years ago. And once you have something like that, Lindsay, which you had asked me before, how to get into luxury real estate, once you get a trophy listing, some people take trophy listings, they know they're not going to sell just to get that personal branding. Once you get one of those, it's so much easier. I'm not going to say you're going to get every $3 million, $2 million listing that comes up, but it's going to make a hell of a lot easier to get a $1 million, $800,000, $1.2 million.
Because you've proven you can do it.
It's on the MLS. Yeah. It's on Zillow. I'm not lying. I listed and sold it. So that was my favorite one, because the house, like, obviously was beautiful, custom built infinity luxury home, never lived in. They paid restoration hardware to stage it. I mean, it was nuts. It was nuts. That's my favorite one.
That's amazing.
Yeah. All from Instagram.
So how long did it take with the tips that you're giving, right, for to gain luxury presence and advice you're giving? How long for you personally did it take to kind of break through, with persistence and everything you applied? It's
no different than trying to get your first sale of any size or your first listing. It's taken years. So in the meantime, I'm still selling regular real estate, we'll call it, $500,000,
kind of like bread and butter in between, right?
Absolutely, because you still need to make money. So it's a long-term play. Right. I can't give you a specific answer. 2, 3, 4 years. I mean, I'm not even sure I still have really achieved that goal. I mean,
I think you've definitely achieved like the branding aspect of it, because for me, looking, from the outside in, that's how you definitely come off that way, which is a great thing. You've earned that branding presence.
Right. So I think a lot of times agents are afraid. I've even had agents tell me this. I'm afraid to post a sold property. I'm like, good for me, because I'm your competition, but bad for you. I mean, how do you not say I've sold this listing, blah, blah, blah. So personal branding is huge. That's a whole nother animal. And that's the thing realtors just you don't get trained that in real estate school. You don't get trained that as a realtor. And I don't even think there's any conferences, conventions, or designations that will teach you personal branding. Every once in a while you see a little thing pop up, but that's a unique animal that once mastered will make your life a lot easier. And the reason why I really focus on personal branding, Lindsay, is because I'm an introvert and I don't like failure, right? So I'm not going to make phone calls. I'm not going to door knock, which we know there's the two amazing tools, like DJ Fairley from the Durbin team. Those guys, that's their jam. I always said to myself, Brian, I want to be so popular, so in everybody's face that I don't have to go to anybody. I want them to come to me. And that's kind of how I got where I'm at. I still have to go to people, don't get me wrong. I still have to hunt on social media for buyers and sellers, but everybody knows my brand. Everybody knows my name. Whether they like me, they dislike me. I get business just by having that brand. And it's kind of the motto I went with because I'm just so introverty.
Yeah. And it's so true. Everything you just stated is so on point. And even with, the company I've started here, Place Trust, that's what we're focusing on.
Excellent.
Is branding, and that's what we're really trying to get across. So right now, what I'm up against personally, if you don't mind me sharing with the brokerage, is that I'm up against, the old school traditional, if you will, right? And also when we're not buying into franchise, we're starting our own, company, our own brand on top of, trying to get agents, which the agents that are with us, they fully understand and they're, putting in the work. It's harder to do, right? To build your own brand, but ultimately you're going to gain your clientele and it's going to grow, at a greater rate.
I think you have so basically you're brand new construction.
Yeah.
You're basically a ground up construction if you want to draw parallel to it. I think you will have a more loyal clientele list as you keep going as a boutique brokerage, just like Goldstein, who I work for down there, than a mega company like Remax I work for here. And even the Realtor Association has done surveys. Most buyers and sellers can't remember even the colors of their brokerage of the agent they worked with, let alone the name.
Yeah, it's all relationship based.
It is really, and that's why I think boutiques have an advantage there. So my dad was a car salesman, right? He always said, Brian, there's an ass for every seat.
Yes, I love that.
Right?
Yes.
So you're going to have some agents that work well with boutique. You're going to have some agents who work well with franchises. There is no one fit.
Right.
There's introverted agents. There's agents that talk too much. There's agents that are engineer minded, and there's agents that are flashy. Every buyer and seller is different, right? I mean, they're going to all jive with a different agent. So it's a melting pot. There's no right or wrong answer. It's kind of like when you ask me what tools worked and what didn't. There's no right or wrong answer. So yeah, you'll be doing good.
Thanks, Brian.
Yeah.
Are there any additional advice or tips you want to give?
Guys, is there anything, do you not have a notebook full of stuff? Come on. You could always DM me. I don't have anything more to add. Again, I can talk real estate for days if you wanted.
Well, let's touch base on one more thing that just popped in my head. I know we could probably go on forever about this, but tips for social media, because you really do well on that.
Thank you. Video, it's been said multiple times, you've got to do videos. So there will be the people that don't like video, being on video. Just because we said the word video nobody said you had to be on the video. You can be behind the camera. So something I'm actually experimenting with, Lindsay, is for my listings, 4 or 5 years ago, I was probably the first or only person that hired a videographer to do the snappy little teaser 1-minute videos of my listing. So I did one of those for a listing, and then I did a walkthrough where it was super unprofessional. It was just me and my phone with the camera on, the video on. I'm just literally walking through unedited from the top to the bottom, narrating different things, okay? Stuff you wouldn't see in photos, stuff I could point out, like the floors are heated here, there's a shop vac there, things you wouldn't see in a 1-minute flashy video, things you wouldn't see in a photo unless you read the caption. The video on YouTube months later with me narrating it had exponentially more views than the flashy video. One cost me a decent amount of money, one cost me no money. So I'm actually in the process of transferring to not paying a videographer to do those zippy, whippy, flashy little videos. And I'm just doing walkthrough narrated tours of my listings, putting up to YouTube, grabbing a link, put it in the MLS, and I'm going to see how that works, because I feel that if you're an out-of-state buyer, which we've had a lot of, COVID is a lot of sight unseen buyers, the 1 minute video is just a teaser, but you really need to see the house. And if you have an agent going through and saying, okay, look at the amazing backyard, look how flat this is, I think that's more beneficial. And the reason I came onto that, because I bought a car sight unseen. It was in California, never went over. And the agent did a video walkthrough, pointed everything out, and I bought the car that way. And I was like, I should probably start doing that in real estate. So that's one of the tips and tricks. But there's just so much on social media. Don't be afraid to do it. Do video. You don't have to be in it. Listen, as agents, your life is super duper interesting, right? You may not think so, but there are people out there that are doing 9-to-5 jobs, stay-at-home moms with 5 kids hanging off them. You post about what you did in the morning about going and working out, then your next Instagram story or social Facebook stories about putting a lockbox on a listing. To you, that's everyday stuff. But to them, they just see the pictures and the flashy video. They don't know what's behind the scenes. So open up behind the scenes and show them what you're doing. That shows that you're a real person, and you'll get that's how I got business, man. People said, hey, I saw you working out and you failed. Whatever I did. Maybe I was trying some sort of lift and I failed. It's not always about, sometimes I'm walking and I tripped over something, right? People want to see people be fallible because they feel they're fallible as well. Again, I go down a foxhole. Hopefully that's not too much information. So
no,
get out there, man. That's kind of the whole thing I'm telling you about everything. Conference and social media, get out there. If you're just going to sit behind a desk, your chances of success are severely limited.
Yeah, completely agree.
Cool.
Well, thank you so much for joining us, Brian, and it was a pleasure having you on.
My pleasure.
Thank you.
See you.